There is a new racial literacy curriculum that's being taught in lots of schools that is turning every subject woke. This is being pushed by Pollyanna Incorporated. It's for high school students, but it's not just teaching them radicalism class. It's not just teaching them, okay, you got math, you got history, you got literature, and you've got social justice. Math, history, literature, and progressive politics. No, it's much subtler and more powerful than that. What these curricula do is inject wokeness and leftism into every single subject. Obviously, history, we've been dealing with that for decades. Obviously, literature, we've also been dealing with that for decades. Obviously, sex ed, or, that comprehensive sex ed is just teaching a kind of liberal sexual ethic in the schools. That's always been the case. Not even just science, but math, too. Because of a leaked implementation seminar, don't forget, this was all happening behind the scenes. The libs who were pushing this stuff were trying to hide it from you because they know that you, the parents, won't like it very much. But part of one of their seminars was just leaked because it was occurring online. And it showed that the libs are now wokening math class. Right now, go to mdhearing.com, use promo code Knowles. Did you know that 9 out of 10 people still buy hearing aids from clinics and pay $5,000 or more, even though much more affordable options exist? That's why you've got to check out MD Hearing Aid. MD Hearing Aid is an FDA-registered rechargeable hearing aid that costs a fraction of what typical hearing aids cost. MD Hearing Aid's Volt Plus model costs over 80%, 80, less than clinic hearing aids. They bring clinic-level care right to you via telemedicine from doctors and licensed hearing professionals. MD Hearing Aid was founded by an ENT surgeon who saw how many of his patients needed hearing aids but couldn't afford them. He made it his mission to develop a quality hearing aid that anyone could afford. If you forget to take your hearing aids off in the shower, do not worry. The Volt Plus is water resistant and up to 3 feet of water. Rechargeable with battery life that lasts up to 30 hours. I really, really love this company. A family member of mine refused to get hearing aids, even though she should have years ago, because of this cost, and it really reduced her quality of life. Make sure you go avail yourself of this opportunity right now. Get clinic-level care for 80% less with MD Hearing Aid. Go to mdhearing.com. Use promo code Knowles to get their new buy one, get one, $149.99 each when you buy a pair deal. They are adding a free extra charging case. That's a $100 value just for our listeners. So head on over to mdhearing.com. Use promo code Knowles. Get their new buy one, get one, $149.99 each when you buy a pair deal. When you're in math class, when I was in math class, I learned 2 plus 2 equals 4. I learned 3 times 3 equals 9. Sometimes we'd go beyond that. We do word problems. If John leaves St. Louis going 55 miles an hour and Sally leaves Chicago going 26 miles an hour, that kind of. Now, what the woke left has done is gone into even math classes and transformed even the math curriculum to push a radical leftist agenda. Here is the plan from Pollyanna Incorporated.
So students learn about DACA, or the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals Program, which currently supports over 700,000 people brought to the United States as children of adoption. And so in the first part of this lesson, students explore the impact of both individually and on our broader society of the July 2021 court ruling that DACA was unconstitutional. And then in the second part of the lesson, students imagine that they are helping to plan a protest in support of DACA, and they need to determine how to maximize attendance given a variety of outreach options and constraints.
This is going to help students think about math. You see, if Pablo pays the criminal cartel $10,000 to smuggle him and his friends into the United States, and Juan sells his sister into slavery to the cartel so that he can get a ride across the Rio Grande, what is the number of their criminal gang? MS 13. There it is. Didn't you just learn something about math? Was it? That's great. Now you're prepared to become an engineer someday, aren't you? Aren't you so glad that the libs woked the math curriculum? It's not just on DACA. So they transformed the math curriculum to suit their goals on the immigration policy. Then they use the math curriculum to push a completely false narrative that cops in the United States have an epidemic problem of targeting innocent black men.
And then lesson 8 This is a heavy one, and we definitely recommend that teachers prepare their students and themselves in advance of teaching this lesson. It's about police killings of people of color, and it uses data to explore racial disproportionality among the victims of police killings and of police use of force. So students examine real world data to determine that Black and Latinx people are killed by police at rates proportionate to their overall representation in the US population. And then they examine data that debunk the misperception that police kill more Black and Latinx people because those people commit more crimes. And then finally, they consider what it would take to eliminate these disparities.
So there are two problems with this approach to education. At least there's probably more than two problems, but the two major problems are, one, the woke teachers and the people creating the woke curricula are filling students' heads with things that are not true. They're filling students' heads with an understanding of American history and literature and society and politics that is not true, and they do it in every single class, including math. That's the first thing. But the second thing that's so awful about this strategy is they are depriving kids of an actual education. Two kids go to math class. One goes to ordinary math class and learns arithmetic and algebra and trigonometry and calculus. And then another kid goes to this woke math class where they learn that George Floyd is a secular saint and cops are really bad and we need to abolish the police. And also 2 + 2 = 4. Which kid, regardless of all this stupid political ideology coming into the second kid's head, which kid is going to get the better math education? Obviously the former. So these libs are like absolute leeches. They're just absolute parasites, not only infecting their host with diseases, but also just sucking them dry, depriving them of nutrients that they otherwise would get in their education. This is happening in the shadows because every reasonable person hates it and objects to it. I don't care what part of the country you're in, what race you are, what background you come from, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. Obviously, all the Republicans are going to hate this stuff, but I bet most of the Democrats are going to hate it too. This is radical stuff. The evidence of it, of how unpopular it is that they have to teach it in the shadows. I'm so glad you liked that clip. Now, hold up, stop, ring the bell, ding, dong, like, subscribe, whatever you got to do. Get the notifications for the Michael Knowles Show. Head on over to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, wherever you get your audio podcasts. Subscribe over there. Leave a 25-star review. We'll see you next time.